When my parents told me they were taking down an old, dying apple tree in our front yard, I saw it as an opportunity to do something great, get wood for free. So I decided to cut it down and get it milled to make a spalted applewood and blue resin end table. We're starting with this applewood and resin slab, which features incredible spalting, those deep black streaks caused by fungi colonizing the wood as it decays. To make applewood, a notoriously frustrating wood, a lot easier to work with, I used blue, swirling resin that matches the vibrant and complex grain of the applewood. The resin helps stabilize it, and to harden the softer parts, I used a penetrating wood hardener. This tabletop was cut from a bigger resin pour using a larger slab I did earlier, and I unfortunately don't have footage of the pour. Moving to the base, where the real geometry headache begins, I start by making a rectangular frame that will sit on the floor. The legs will angle upward and outward from this base to meet the top, requiring meticulous dowel joinery. I'm resawing and milling raw mahogany down to precise dimensions to create a modern V-shaped leg assembly. I also made a shelf, which you can see me gluing up here, that will span the distance between the legs about a third of the way up, to add stability and functionality to the design. A lot of this project involved making lots of measurements and cutting precise angles for the base. This piece was really the first piece I tried to get creative with design. Up to this point, I had really just focused on mastering traditional woodworking practices, like making cutting boards or charcuterie boards. Although I was still far from mastery, I took the leap and pushed myself out of my comfort zone by trying to realize my own design, encountering many joints and difficulties I had never had practice with. This led to exposure to many new scenarios, and if mistakes are learning experiences, then the number of mistakes I made is certainly a testament to how much I learned from this project. After cutting all the parts for the base, I can begin assembling it, which mainly involves lining up the pieces, marking them, and drilling holes for dowels. I assembled the base in a sort of three-part process. The first part you see here, adding the lower segment of the legs. To elevate the design, I sculpted a slight concave curve on the inner side of the mahogany rectangle to be flush with the legs. I did this mainly with sanding, chisels, and a hand plane. The second part of the base assembly was joining the shelf for the lower parts of the legs, which of course I used dowels for. Way too much of this project was sanding, and I'm now realizing I probably left too much of it in, but editing this video already took me way too long. This video is like a year late, and I'm not doing more editing. I left the legs a little long, so here you can see me cutting the legs to the right height and playing the top flat. Finally, I can start with the last part of base assembly and attach the top part of the legs to the shelf. Integrating the shelf required a lot of hand tool work to blend the shelf and legs into one continuous linear flow, as you'll see soon. After adding a 45-degree chamfer to the outer edges to thin out the visual profile and make the table look more refined, it was time to attach the tabletop to the base, which was the first time I was really able to see the table come together. The biggest hurdle in this challenge was definitely the finish. Because it's midwinter, I had to build a makeshift clean room in my garage using a ladder and tarps, cranking a heater just to get the Danish oil to polymerize properly. Moreover, it would have been easier to finish the base and top separately. After 4 coats of oil to penetrate the spalted grain, I moved the project inside where I could apply the final coat of hard wax oil, buffing it to a satin sheen. Seeing the wood from my own yard transformed through complex joinery and resin work makes the connection to this piece feel permanent. It's not just furniture, it's a piece of the landscape in my home brought indoors. Although I don't have this piece up for sale, you can check out my website ehcrafted.com in the description for products like cutting boards or charcuterie boards. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see bigger builds for sale on my website.